Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. How is everyone doing today? Hope you're all well. Hey Jimmy, how you doing? I think the sound and audio. I mean visual and audio should be okay. Yeah, I think visual and audio should be okay. Let me know if it works, if there's any issues. Now, okay, everything's streaming. Good. Hey Jumarinas, good morning. Hey, Dark Knight from Nigeria, good to have you with us. Welcome to the session. Thanks for that, Jimmy. Hey, Linley, hope you're well. Okay, it's all working, all good. Yeah, so hope you guys have been well. If you're new to the session, do drop a message, say hi, let me know where you're joining us from. We have, I think, Dark Knight, first time joining us from Nigeria. Good to have you with us. So yeah, if you're new to the session, drop a message, say hi. For all the regulars, a big welcome back. Thank you again for joining me on the daily market analysis. Today is Tuesday, the 9th of April, so we will be looking at analysis on the H1 time frame again. If you have any questions at any point in time, please feel free to put it into the chat and let me know. And you can help me out massively by remembering to click on that thumbs up button and also the subscribe button if you haven't already, on whichever platform you're joining me on. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitch, X, wherever you are, put it into the chat and let me know. One more thing is that if you have any feedback or any comments or any suggestions, do let me know as well, okay? The link for the Discord channel is coming up. The link for the Discord channel, if you haven't, I think most of you have, but if you haven't already, do click on that link and join us on Discord. That's where you can take our discussions beyond this 1 hour through the day as we look at some possible trade setups. With that said, good morning, Angel Case. How are you doing? Hey, Stefan. How are you doing? Hey, Augusto. Thanks for that. Hey, Nav. Hey, Christina. Good morning. Now, with that, a quick disclaimer, any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as education material only. Please do your own due diligence as the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, as your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. With that, get rid of that. Now, looking at the news, what has happened? Nothing much, as we had expected. Right, we spoke about this yesterday. On Monday, not much, not many news. We saw the dollar index pretty much. This was Monday after our session, set in consolidation, push slightly lower, now still sitting above that 104 level. We were looking at this on the H4 time frame on Monday, where we were looking at the dollar index consolidating, could test a little bit higher, tried to pop up a little bit before pushing down. We did see the head and shoulder pattern. Neckline is still there, so it hasn't broken 104 yet. Or would it? Okay. Now coming back to the H1 time frame. Okay. So that was what happened last night. No major news that came up. Today, again, not much that came up. Again, I had a quick scalp on the pound yen and on the Kiwi dollar. Very tiny, small scalps. Just want to do something. But, you know, prices have been pretty much, you can see here, in the last 6 hours, they're all single digits. They're not even close to 10. So it's very slow markets over the last, this trading, the Asian trading session. Looking for some possible setups as we head into the into the Europe Open and the US Open. Tomorrow, however, tomorrow at 10 a.m. GMT plus 8, we do have the Kiwi with their interest rate decision, 5.5%, looking to hold at 5.5%. There was a statement early this, or news early this day. Where was it? There we go. The shadow board overwhelmingly in favor of keeping the OCL, overnight cash rate, on hold in April. Right, keeping it on hold in April, but we are considering, or there was talk about a possible cut, maybe in, I don't see the news now, maybe in June. Shadow holding board, yeah, I don't see it. I saw it, I read it somewhere, that, you know, although they're keeping it on hold in April, maybe in June we'll be looking at a possible rate cut to come from the RBNZ. But for now, tomorrow we're possibly thinking holding at 5.5%. Rate statement will be something to pay attention to. I don't think it'll be a major surprise, but we're going to see what's the sentiment that the RBNZ might convey about the possible sentiment to come from the RBNZ about timeline on the rate cut. Then through to 8:30 tomorrow, we have the core CPI, CPI month to month, and CPI year to year for the US, 3.2 to 3.4. We spoke about this quite a bit yesterday. If inflation growth does increase slightly from 3.2 to 3.4, it's not going to cause too much of a headache for the dollar. I think that we might still see the dollar now sitting along that 104 level, might still see it head slightly to the downside. Okay. Then Bank of Canada tomorrow as well. One interesting thing is tomorrow is a public holiday in Singapore. I might not be doing a live stream, or most likely won't be doing a live stream tomorrow at 3 p.m. However, in replacement of that, I'll most likely be doing a live trading session at 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8 for the core CPI year to year for the US, and also the CAD interest rate decision. Okay, that will be shared with you guys on the Discord channel, so do make sure you join the Discord channel if you haven't already. But overall, what we're looking at is today relatively peaceful, maybe relatively quiet, heading into the fireworks from tomorrow onwards. You can see the euro with their main refinancing rate on Thursday, the press conference as well, and then the GDP for the UK on Friday. So a lot more news to come. Yesterday and today, probably a bit of a breather for most traders. Now, good morning, Ayakame. How are you doing? Now, looking at the dollar index. Okay, we have a lot of, this was what we were looking at on Friday last week, where I said to come down, test, and push up. It did come down. It pushed up a lot more than we expected. Failed to break above that 61.8 level before coming back down. Now, I would still hold this view. So I'll take that away for now. Okay. And this now becomes a lot more evident, where you can see that shoulder, head, and shoulder with a skewed neckline that it seems to have broken, right? But there is a round number level of 104 down here, and the support level together with that 38.2 that broke, but that trend line still holds. So there are many factors here holding to consider, that's holding the dollar index to prevent it from really dropping to prevent it from dropping at this point. Okay, so just check that. We can look at this whole thing here. Test, test, bounce, test, and then that point there. So really, at this point, what needs to happen is the dollar index needs to break below 104. Today is the 9th of April, right? We need to see, there is a bit of a head and shoulder pattern. I would broken that neckline, but I see that swing low here. We want to see the dollar break the trend line, break the bullish trend line, break and 104 support level, right? So break that trend line, break the support level, then we could see it drop down towards that 103.70 level. If it breaks bullish trend line and 104 support, could trade down to the 103.70 level. Okay, so sitting there, needs to break. If it breaks, then we could see it head down towards that 103.70 level, which is the interim level there, right in the middle. Let me just check this, which is that 61.8% from that move. So I think that's a reasonable level for it to come down to test. Good morning, Owen. How are you doing? I'm happy with that. 9th April, if it breaks bullish trend line and 104 support, could trade down to 103.70. Okay, so overall, looking at some weakness on the dollar to continue, right? From this push downwards, we can take that away as well, because it came up, tested 61.8. Okay, then now looking at the Kiwi, we had all this preparation for the NFP, so we'll take that away. Didn't push up as much to retrace down, so we take all that away for now. You can see that from the bottom up, right? From the bottom up, it came down to test, and this was from the non-farm. This was from the non-farm on Friday. It came down to test the 50% level, 50% retracement level, before pushing back up again. I did a quick scalp here on the Kiwi towards that resistance. Just wanted to test something. So it went up to the resistance, got out, and it's come back down a bit. Now, expecting that dollar weakness scenario where all we have to do now is to wait. Nothing to do on the Kiwi. We wait for it to break that resistance level, because there is a risk that we could be forming a double top here, right? There could be a double top at a resistance, so there is a risk that it could come crashing down, right? And the ingredients for that could be present with the official cash rate from the RBNZ to be released tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. GMT plus 8. So that's going to be quite crucial at this resistance level. We want to see a reaction at 6050, forming up right now. If it breaks up from this point, then you would be looking at a long at about 6060. Take profit could be a good 50 pips to the upside, maybe less. No, would be a good 45 pips to the upside. Stop loss no more than 20. On the other flip side, if it rejects, right now we're looking at the dollar pushing. Maybe if that trend line breaks, right, we might see some weakness coming down that might push that up. We see that forming in a rejection. You could also be looking at a 6030 stop loss, 30 pips there. Take profit, you can go down to about 40 pips to the downside. If it breaks that level, then you got further downside potential. Okay, So that's always going to be something to consider. Looking at that as well. It's now testing the 23.6 level. We could see, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that double top. Okay, let's consider this. Consider this scenario where if it holds and it bounces back up. So no dollar weakness. On the alternate scenario that we see a dollar strength on the dollar strength scenario, then you'll be looking at about 6030, 30 pip stop loss, 40 pip take profit. If it comes down to this point, I'll move my stop loss to break even. Might even do that. Might move my stop loss down to break even and then go for the full move to 85. Okay. So let's look for that. 6030. 60, we have it almost there. 6030, stop loss 25, take profit 85 with a hesitation at just at 5995. 0.5995. There we go. Augusto said, is that called a double top? Yeah, if you know, the double two tops here, right? Test, reject, shows that that resistance is a strong resistance, which we see that overlap level there. In fact, even if I just took that point, you see that the last time in March, where it tested, it came down, bounced, tested this level, 6050, rejected, and pushed all the way to the downside. So now that it's come back up, came back halfway to 50%, tested again. If it fails to break higher, then we could look for rejection all the way, possibly all the way down towards 5945. Good morning, Diana. How are you doing? Neymar. Hey, Neymar. How are you doing? 6042. 6042. Fantastic. You caught it right at the point. I think you caught it right at that point there. Good. That's a good entry. I would say still running. Looking for it to push down. I think that's a fair trade, fair setup. Then onto the Aussie. We spoke about this on Friday for a test and reject. Hasn't moved that much. It's just sitting in consolidation. Let me zoom out a little bit. You can see again that it came down to test that 50% level. And push right back up. Resistance up there. I would say that in this case, let me see, we've got 50% level here, 61.8 up there. Aussie has been in this terrible range for a very long time. So now what I'm thinking is that, you know what, as much as we're looking at the dollar and thinking that it might break down, Aussie and Kiwi is showing that it might show a rejection at that resistance, which kind of indicates that we might see this bounce back up. And also because given that, you know, since March, tested this point, is bounced off this level several times now. This support level might hold. We might see this push up. So it's just something to keep in mind as well. Okay. So I'm looking at this because I'm thinking on the Aussie that if it does push up, would it be worth looking to buy 6630, stop loss 20 pips. First will be at about 27-30 pips. Right? Yes, we can go up to 90, but I don't see why it would push that much. or even down to 75. I don't see a big push on the Aussie. I don't see a big push on the Aussie. And because of that, I'm actually thinking, could it push back down? But I think that since we have that idea for the Kiwi with the RBNZ tomorrow, you know, we're looking at the Kiwi to the downside, then if it bounces up, you might be looking to buy the Aussie up. Okay, so you cover your both bases. If dollar strength, we're going to sell the Kiwi. If the dollar continues to weaken, we're going to buy the Aussie up. 6630, 20 pip stop loss, 75 pip take profit to the upside for the Aussie. 6650, was it? Yes. No, 6630, 20 to 75. 6630, stop loss 20, take profit 75. There we go. Okay. Now, looking at that, I'm quite happy. So it breaks up. Another thing to consider is that trend line holding it up. Pushing, so if it breaks above, yeah, I'm quite happy with that as a possible setup. Then onto the yen, we saw that inverted head and shoulder for the upside on from Friday. That happened already, so we'll take that away. Anyone caught the yen to the upside? Let me know. The ever-present thought of looking for a rejection on the yen has not happened yet, right? This rejection cannot or shouldn't be a rejection purely as a technical view. Ideally, for a 90 pip move to the downside, we're looking at a more talk from the BOJ or an intervention from the BOJ. So with it not having done that, it's sitting right now at 151.90. Right, and it's at that point right now. I actually think, same thing like what I was saying on yesterday, on the session yesterday, is that I actually think that we might see a little bit more upside. Right, we might see a little bit more upside on the US yen before it turns back down again. I'm still not ruling out a move lower. Right, to come back within this range, but sitting in that consolidation at this point. Scalping it up would be okay. 151.72. Let me see. Past this point, yeah, it needs to go past this point. The medium-term trade idea would be something like that. 30 pips stop loss, 151, below 151.70, you're looking to sell down, and then you have your take profit down to 75. There we go. We're looking at that. What I'm thinking, how I think of this is that it's going to sit in this area. It might pop up a little bit more, catch some buyers, and then after that come back down again. So I'm still waiting for that selling opportunity for it to stay within this range, right? To stay within this range. I'll be happy with that. 151.70, 30 to 75. 151.80.70, stop loss 30, take profit 75. That you have to wait for that I think you have to wait for that, but once it happens, it could happen very quickly. All right. Hey Lazarus, how are you doing? Then on to pound. I did this on non-farm. It shot down. I said, okay, if it breaks that 61, if it fails to break that 61 and bounces, I'll buy it up. So I bought the pound up. Quite happy with that. Anyone got onto that for the non-farm? Let me know. That level still holds. That level is still valid. Let's check 50. Nope, 50 is close. That point, and then this point up. That makes sense. We have that. You can see what we have here is again, shoulder, head, shoulder, and then a bit of a shoulder, and then forming a shoulder with the neckline at about there. Right, so inverted head and shoulder at a 38.2 level, looking for it to push up. I don't think we need this resistance level. I'll keep it there at about 61.8. So what I'm looking for here on the dollar weakness scenario, I don't see it now. We see that sitting there, but I don't see too much of that dollar weakness actually. We're looking for that test and breakthrough. 1.2680, stop loss 30, take profit. You have your first one at 30 and then your next one at 109, 110. No big UK news to come, so I don't see that happening, but it could be dragged up because of the dollar, of the euro dollar. What I'm actually looking at here is that although I'm actually thinking that we might see a bit of a move down again. Right? So I'm actually thinking that we might see that test a bit lower, about that point, before maybe pushing back up. Maybe down to this area even, so about that point, before pushing back up. But why I say that I'm not thinking of selling is because, you know, even if you were to sell down from this point here, you have about 30 pips, you have about 50 down to this point. It's tricky. And this level here is not. Okay, let me just take that away for now. If I look at this, and you know, just looking at this on the Kiwi is pushing down, looking like more downside. Aussie is sitting there as diverging. The Kiwi and the Aussie is diverging. Aussie is pushing up a little bit. The US yen is looking like it's pushing down. We're looking at a lot of the other currency pairs reflecting onto the dollar, reflecting that dollar strength scenario, right? So it might not even be dollar strength. It might just be the other currencies being weaker. Diana says, I see pound for a short term down, fair value at 1.2632, 1.2632, about there. Yeah. That's why I think I might see it come back down a little bit, even a bit further down to 2.5 before pushing back up. Okay. I think this is what's likely to happen. We might see it push down. And then we're still looking for that upward rebound. I'll still look at that 1.2680. Stop loss 30. Take profit right up to, I don't think I go all the way there. I think that would be a fair number, about 75. Thinking of this point here. Okay. So no matter what, it's patience here. Remember again that as we looked at the news, not a lot of things happening today. I don't think it'll be a lot of trades to fire out today. Might be something for tomorrow where we look at, today might retrace and after that will push back up to that point. Okay, so 1.2680, 30 to 75 to the upside for the pound dollar. 1.2680, stop loss 30, take profit 70. What am I doing? 75. I have a lot of 75s today. 75, 75, 75. Not on intention. Still seeing this maybe push down a little bit. So what I think might happen here is a fake break and push back up. Maybe. It's at that decision point. It's at that decision point which is going to be very tricky right now. Okay. The pound just retraced right back up. We're still looking for that level. Euro dollar inverted head and shoulder to the upside. We spoke about this on Friday and yesterday, I think. Pushing higher. I like this one. Okay, so I'll take that away for now. Take all that away because that's done. It's pushing back up. Thursday is going to be quite important because they are talking about, where was it? I'm losing track of everything I'm reading. Where was it? Where was it? I don't see it here. Where was it? Let me see. Yeah, there we go. April ECB meeting preview on course for a June rate cut. Okay, so it wasn't for the Kiwi for a potential June rate cut. It's the ECB with a potential June rate cut, right? On course for a June rate cut. It seems like everyone's going to do it in June. US FOMC timeline looks like it's pushing to June. The ECB looks like it's going to do it in June in the summer months. Now with the BOJ not cutting rates, but looking like they might hike rates further. Timing based on the second year rate, next rate hike in focus. So it seems like June's going to be a big month. Okay, so now on the euro dollar, I'm thinking that if they don't do anything this time around, we might see the euro dollar push back up a little bit. Right, the last time they did nothing was on the 7th of March. Right, and you see on the 7th of March what happened. Here we go. On the 7th of March at that point. Right, when they did nothing, it came down a little bit before spiking right back up. Right, coming down a little bit before spiking right back up. So anticipating maybe something similar, we're thinking that it's going to sit around there, look for it to break that 61.8 and that previous swing level, this resistance area. Gold just made another. Gold is just, I'm actually doing a big write-up on gold. Relationship between gold, treasury, and the equity markets. But yeah, gold is just, I feel like, I mean, I'm sorry for digressing, but I feel like gold seems to be slightly manipulated. Think about that. Okay, yes, I saw Lydia's question about, hey Lydia, how are you doing for Euro Yen? Yes, I can do that. And Diana for Pound Yen and Swiss Yen, for sure. Of course. So I'm looking at this 1.0885, stop loss 20 pips. I would do even 30 just to be a little bit, give it a bit more space. take profit could go up to that 60, about that 60 pip region. You could go tight on this to be about 20 pips to 25. Maximum 30 pips would be the best. Okay, so I'm looking at that. So 1.0885, stop loss 30, take profit 60 to the upside for the euro dollar. 1.088. Oh, I have it the same. Okay, 85, 32, take profit of 60 to the upside. I didn't answer your question above. Oh, I missed that one too. Why my buyers on Aussie is up but Kiwi down based on technical or fundamentals? It's based on technical. So you see Kiwi, I'm looking at it, testing possible double top formation there. I don't have a very strong trend line. It's there, but there's a bit of space. I'm thinking that the momentum could push it down. Covering my bases, if we see dollar strength come back into play, we could see that drag down. And then also a bit of fundamentals, because if you looked at the last time on the 28th of Feb when they did nothing, where is it? On the 28th of Feb when they did nothing, the Kiwi dropped, right? The Kiwi dropped. Very dissimilar to the euro when the ECB did nothing and the euro shot up because of the comments. The Kiwi, based on the number and the rate statement being released, when they did nothing, we see the Kiwi drop quite significantly. So because of that, and that is happening at a resistance, double top, news coming out, looking at maybe the Kiwi to push to the downside. Then the Aussie, just covering the bases with no major Aussie news to be released. Trending up, I'm looking that it's been in this range for since January, right? January it got into this range, broke out a little bit, came back in. So I'm just looking at it as if it breaks momentum for it to push up to break that resistance, we could see it push a bit higher to the upside. Does that answer your question there, Diana? Sorry for missing it the first time around. Okay, good question, very good question. Thanks for asking that as well. And yes, we can do Kiwi CAD as for Augusto. I've done Euro. You're most welcome. I've done, okay, I'm doing Swiss franc now. Johnny Cash is 100% on gold. Gold, yeah, gold is it's interesting. I'm not big on conspiracy theories, but it's getting to that point where it's you can't avoid it. You can't avoid that thought, because there's no reason why with you know the dollar index not doing too much, no super big problems. I mean, there's an ongoing problem geopolitically, but not a super massive problem. And yet we're seeing gold continue to scale crazily to the upside. So it just triggers the thought that, hey, it looks like it's a little bit manipulated for a bigger picture possibly. Okay, US Swiss franc currently at 9050, between that support and resistance level. US Swiss franc still very closely driven by the dollar index. So at this point, if it pushes up towards the resistance level, we want to see the dollar strengthen. If it breaks down, then we're going to see it push to the downside. But because it's in the middle of that support and resistance, I would say stay away for now. Stay away for now. Most likely that support is going to hold, so I wouldn't be priming for a big drop either. Okay, so I'll stay away for now. Just going to fluctuate in between the range, the support and resistance range. So I'll say stay out in between support and resistance. Then onto the US CAD, we were looking for that to bounce, did not happen. but we did see that dollar strength and the CAD weakness because of the employment numbers from Friday pushed it all the way up above that resistance and then come right back down again. At this point, zooming out, you can see that as much as it spiked out of that resistance, it came right back in to remain within that range. Okay, and if I show you this as well, you see another reason why it spiked out and came back in, because it pushed out outside the Bollinger Bands. It closed outside, spent one more hour outside, and then came right back into it. So Bollinger Bands does help a lot. Now at this point here at 1.3580, again looking at the dollar index, looking like it's bouncing off that trend line now. Right, looking it's bouncing off that trend line. If it does push up, I would look for this resistance level to hold, as how it's been doing since December last year. So we're possibly looking at a short position 1.3605. Why is it so far away? 1.3605. Stop loss 30 pips. Take profit could go down to 80. Yeah, 80 pips will be okay. To 80 pips. Okay, so 1.3605, stop loss 30, take profit 80 to the downside for the loonie, looking for a test and reject. So loonie, we're looking to sell at 1.3605. Stop loss 30, take profit 80 to the downside. Then now looking at gold, where a new high. We were looking at this yesterday. Oops, let me do that first. We were looking at that yesterday on gold, where we were saying that you needed to come down and test a level before bouncing. It came down slightly before pushing back up again. All right. Hey Amir, how you doing? Hope you're well. Okay, so gold, we saw that test and push back up. On Friday we saw that push. So if you look at that, it's basically that move, just that it pushed up a lot higher than we expected. So it pushed up a lot, came back down, tested this level and pushed back up. So same pattern, trading higher right now. Okay, this one we can take away. This one we'll keep, we change that with a channel. We see that channel happening to the upside for gold. That channel works very well. So now we're possibly looking at gold coming up to that, wow. Right, so yesterday it came back down to the halfway mark and sat there, pushed back up. It looks like we might just get to 123.75. Looks like gold could could climb to 23.75, especially if it stays above that previous high. Okay, so gold would be above 23, stay above 23.50, could climb to 23.75, and then quite similar to this, test at top of that, and then come back down and then do that. Yeah, very, very tricky on gold at the moment. I can't put my finger onto why it's climbing so strongly. So just be careful on that. Jimmy saying is to do with central bank buying. Yes, you know, so that's why I feel it's a little bit of a manipulation. Why is central bank buying gold so aggressively? I mean, look at it on the 6-month timeline chart. We've never seen that level, and we know that it could come crashing right back down again as well. So something to watch out for. Okay, then with that, where am I? Euro yen. We'll start off with euro yen. We have our level here. Okay, that we can even have it there. So it's about that resistance level. We have another level about there. So I like that for the resistance. I'll have that for the interim. Long time since we looked at it. I'll look at it from here. I'll take away. Let's just start again here. Okay, so I know I've got a good support here. Clicking the wrong buttons today. Okay, got a good resistance here. Then I have a bit of a interim level here and here. Okay, so now looking at this on the euro, we're seeing it sit there. I'm anticipating maybe a push to the upside. US yen is sitting right there, thinking it might push up a little bit higher. So on the euro yen, I'm actually thinking that I'm looking at a possible sell. Might be a bit too early here, so looking for it to push up to that resistance and sell down, similar to what we saw here in March 21st. So not very long ago, where we saw it test all the way up and then push right back down. So looking at maybe for it to climb up towards that 165.25 level, then you'll be looking to sell down 165.10, stop loss 30 pips, take profit 70 to the downside, like that. Okay. Hope that answers your question there, Lydia, about the euro yen. Then again, pound dollar still sitting in that consolidation. Move it a little bit higher. All right, still seeing that consolidation there. So again, on the US yen, might see a little bit of a push to the upside. Pound yen, I caught that. I was scalping that up this morning just to that resistance level. Came down to 61.8. At that resistance, I was testing. So what happened was I was scalping it up. I was looking for a sudden break, ideally for a sudden break to the upside, but it didn't happen. I didn't want to hold on to a trade because it's near that resistance. Okay, so at this point now, again to the pound dollar, looking for it to break to the upside. I would say pound yen has good space to run up, especially if the pound dollar pushes higher. I'll be looking at 192.45, stop loss 30, take profit could go all the way up to 90 pips. So this was me for this morning. Where was I? About there. I was buying it up, scalping it up, looking for maybe that it would do something like that. Right? Push up, and suddenly it just pop right up. Didn't happen, but it came too close to the resistance, so I'm out. I'm waiting for it to break that resistance and then push up. So that's something I've been watching quite closely. Then onto the Swiss yen. I've put this onto my MT4, MT5 platform, something I'm watching closely now. What I realized is that, just sharing a thought, is what I realized is that I don't like looking at it too much on MT4, MT5 because it's not the tails and all that make it look really ugly. It looks terrible with all the tails around. So I actually like looking at it more on TradingView here. Now looking at this, I have been tempted, but I haven't been ready to sell it down, right? US Swiss franc is sitting right there. So if it pushes up, if this pushes up, it's going to signal that we might be looking at some weakness on the Swiss franc, strength on the dollar or weakness on the Swiss franc. So if we look at the here, the weakness on the Swiss franc is going to cause this to push down. The US yen maybe pushing back down again. Overall, I'm looking for this to the downside. I'm looking for it to the downside. But there are too many levels. Why I'm not ready to sell it yet, or to really jump onto a trade here, is because if it breaks that trend line, we have a previous swing low here, and if it breaks that point, we have another one there, and between these two levels, if I even look to sell down, that's only like a 25 pip move, right? So this would be something that I would have to do to want to take that risk. And at this point, I don't feel like taking on that risk. Is 167.75. Stop loss, maybe about 35 pips. Take profit, could go to 40, could go all the way down to 90. Right? So I don't think it's a good risk to reward. Even 20 to 40, it's just too many levels in between that could cause different things to happen. So yes, I am looking at some downside on the Swiss yen, but I feel that it's not something for the H1, it's not something for the longer time frame. It may be something that I'll scalp it down. Okay. No worries, Diana. No worries, Erwin. I'm not done yet. I've got, you guys are all saying thanks. I'm not done yet. I've got KiwiCAD, one more for Augusto. KiwiCAD. I think Augusto asked about this last time around as well. Take that away. Now, looking at this. Nope. Looking at the small channel, that's how it looks like. With that level as a resistance. We know the big level is down here. And also this point here. Right, so KiwiCAD, anticipating the Kiwi could drop with tomorrow's news. This might present an idea that it could drop down if it breaks out that channel. I think we spoke about this yesterday, if I'm not wrong. I vaguely remember something like that. So 8185, 30 pips to 30. That's a 1:1. And then if it breaks down from this point, you got further downside. You could also be looking at 8185. I'll still do 8185. I could go tighter on this to be 20 to 35. A bit tight, but I think if we see that drop and it has enough momentum, you could be looking at a bigger move back down. But for now, I would say that that support should hold. Okay? Now I'm done. So central bank buying, yes, especially China, possibly. I'm not going to say anything about the Chinese. You're most welcome there, Pips Apprentice. No worries, Lydia. Looking forward to tomorrow night. Me too, Jimmy. Yes, rewatch it, Erwin. No worries, Diana. Thanks, Linley. Thanks, Stefan. Remember, guys, do help me out. Do click that like and subscribe button, please. Johnny Cash is saying, I agree with your theory. Thanks for that. Also, gold, Bitcoin, S&P going up. Yeah, so it seems like it's all being propped up for a funny reason, for possibly an interesting reason. Okay, but if you look at this overall, I don't see any big trades happening right now. It's all still in the setup phase. Be extra patient. Don't feel like you have to rush into any trades at this point in time. So for now, if you haven't already, do make sure you join us on the Discord channel, and I look forward to catching up with you on Discord. And where was it? And also, if not, then no live stream at 3 p.m. tomorrow, but most likely a live trading session together at what time? At 8:30 p.m. GMT +8 with the US CPI and all the way through to the CAD rate decision at 9:45 p.m. Take care now. Bye-bye.